Hello everybody, it's Adelaja back here with you on this new series that we just started, Understanding Suicide, Mass Shooting, and Depression. Understanding Suicide, Mass Shooting, and Depression. Understanding Suicide, Mass Shooting, and Depression. I've already spoken on the introduction. I've introduced you to depression, and I've spoken about introduction to depression, part 1, part 2. Today I'm going to be talking about something much more serious. So I want you to go ahead and call on your friends and family members, because I'm going to be talking about the symptoms of depression. What are the symptoms of depression? What? Это не то ты показываешь, но смотри, убери слайды. Ты посмотри, что ты показываешь. Это не тема, которая нужна. Но ты покажи, выведи туда. Но она же должна так быть восстановлена, чтобы я нашел. Okay, so the topic of today is, what are the symptoms of depression? What are the symptoms of depression? This is the topic that we're dealing with today. What are the symptoms of depression? Well, this is going to be emotional for a lot of people, because this, but it's also a way out. It's also a deliverance to a lot of people. It's also a because a lot of people don't know really what is happening to them. Let me tell you something. When you begin to realize that you don't recognize yourself, you cannot recognize yourself, when you don't know what is happening to you, when you just wake up and discover that I can't understand what's wrong with me, I can't get it, it's like something is wrong with me, I'm normal myself. Those are the statements and words of a depressed person. It could be that it's depression. Now, let me even go further. If you look at your body, nothing is wrong with your body, you are not sick, you are not feeling any pain, you are okay, but you are not okay in your feelings. You see that you are not sick, your heart is not beating irregularly, your legs are okay, your mind is okay, your head is fine, but you don't know that something is wrong and you cannot pinpoint it. That could be depression. You just discover that you don't have the joy, you don't have the energy, you don't have the enthusiasm anymore like you used to have. You just discover that something is wrong, but I think I'm okay. Your mind is working well, you are understanding everything going on, you are in charge, but the chemistry of how everything used to run smoothly before is being disrupted, and you could just see that you are losing interest, you are no more flowing. That is depression right there. Okay, much no breath. That is depression. So let me begin to what I've just said is just emotional description of depression, right? But there is something that is called clinical depression. Clinical depression is not just when I tell you in my own understanding what depression looks like, but it is when it is already diagnosed that yes, you are having the depression. Now, so that's what, when I'm talking about symptoms of depression, I'm not going to give you the emotional or understanding of it or dictionary understanding of it, but I'm going to tell you the clinical understanding of it. So I'm going to give you the symptoms, the clinical symptoms that are recognized by the medical world and by the specialists in depression. What are the symptoms of depression? There are many of them, they differ. Somebody could be feeling like this but not feel like this. So if I'm going to give you maybe 9 or 11, maybe 12 symptoms of depression, it might be just one of them where you recognize yourself, or 2 or 3, but for different people there are different ways. But I'm just going to give you the basic symptoms that have been clinically identified as something that has been consistent over the years for a lot of people that suffered from depression. So these are not just insinuations. These are things that have been tested. These are things that have been discovered through the lives of millions and millions of people who have suffered from depression. So the first clinical sign of depression, or the first sign that you are clinically depressed, that you are sick, that you need a doctor as urgently as possible. Not, when we talk about depression, we're only talking about, in this series, we're only talking about clinical depression, by the way. We are not talking about, I have bad mood, or okay, I don't feel like, it's not like that kind of thing we talk about, that, I don't feel like good, or the weather is bad. That's not the kind of thing we're talking about. But if that becomes consistent and permanent, and regular, then we are talking about clinical depression right here. So that's the first sign. The first sign that someone is depressed is that you become moody. You have depressed mood, but not like for 5 minutes, like I said, right? But you have that's the first sign of depression, depressed mood. Not for 5 minutes, but if you have a depressed mood, like in the morning, you wake up in the morning, and you are feeling not good, and normally it will go away. That's what we just talked. We just use frivolously the word that you are maybe depressed or I don't feel nice. That is not clinical depression. But it becomes clinical depression if that bad mood, not feeling good, not being able to find a place for yourself, not being able to know what's wrong with you or what's happening to you, if that is persistent for the whole day, and not just one day, but another day and another day and another day, and it's persistent like that, bad mood, depressive mood, the whole day, and you cannot get your head around it, then that's a problem right there. That's number one. Number two, one of the most popular and most frequent signs of depression is that you lose interest in activities and pleasures that used to give you, that you used to be excited about before. So when you begin to find out that you lose interest in activities that you used to be involved in, activities that you are always excited about before, activities that were always making you to wake up in the morning and go and do things that will always encourage you, things that you want to do, things that you are happy about, things that that just wants to make you to go and get involved. But now you discover that you just lose interest. You just discover that you are no more interested. Not just in activities. Sometimes we lose interest in activities because of laziness. Sometimes we lose interest in activities because we are tired and we are just bored of doing the same thing all over again. But when you don't just lose interest in activities, but you begin to lose interest even in the things that that used to give you pleasure. Pleasure is something that everybody wants. But here, that pleasurable thing, okay, for example, family, it's no more giving you pleasure. Children, they no more give you pleasure. That's a big alarm right there. That Yahoo problem. When you begin to have that, and not just for 1 day or 2 days, but when it becomes a pronounced and prolonged decrease in interest and in activities and in pleasure that you used to have, that means we have a problem in our hands, guys. That means we have a problem in our hands. depression. And if that is not dealt with on time, it could keep on growing. And when you feel like you are paralyzed, you don't have interest, nothing gives you joy, nothing gives you excitement, nothing gives you pleasure, that leads to hopelessness. And you know what follows hopelessness? Death. You want to die. I mean, there's nothing to live for anymore. That's why depression is deadly, guys. Next one. Another sign of depression is you could find out that you are just losing weight, or without explanation, even though you are eating, but you don't find pleasure in that food anymore. Food will not excite you. You can taste it physically, that it's tasty, you identify the taste, you know that it's a good food or it's not good, but you are indifferent. Even though you eat like that, you will still be losing weight. And sometimes you don't even feel like eating. It's not that you are fasting, no. You know, when you fast, you have to even struggle not to eat. But here, you don't even feel like. And when you eat, it's not attractive to you. And you know, I'm talking about you here, right? But it could also be these are symptoms you could identify in other people. In your neighbors, in your, husband, wife, children, in people, in your family members, people around you, people you interact with. But I just mentioned the fact that when you have depression, you lose weight, right? But there is another aspect of that. The other aspect of that is depending on people, you say. And scientists have not been able to establish this, why this. But funny enough, some people lose weight when they are depressed, whereas some people add weight when they are depressed. Maybe a big amount of people actually add weight when they are depressed. Also, they too don't find too much pleasure in the food. They can taste it, they know it's good, but they're not really deriving any pleasure from it. The same as the other one that is losing weight. No pleasure, no excitement, no joy so much from eating. But they just keep on eating anyway. But they keep on eating so much that they begin to gain weight. That is also a sign of depression. So they cannot stop it, even though they don't find too much pleasure in it, but they don't have the strength to stop. And because of how bad they are feeling inside themselves, they find comfort in just going. It's like their own way out of coming out of the situation where they are in. They just go and keep on eating. So that's another symptom of depression. So a lot of people lose weight, but a lot of people also gain weight. There is another factor or symptom of depression. Clinically, these things have been discovered by scientists. That is what normally happens to people who are depressed. So the next symptom of depression is that you find it difficult to sleep, especially to have a 7-hour, 6-hour long sleep when you are well rested. That is a problem. You want to sleep, but you cannot sleep. You lie down in the bed, but sometimes you sleep, but not for long. You struggle with getting pleasure from sleeping. Even though you could sleep, but it will not be such the way you used to sleep before. Long, stretched out, well rested and recovered. But this one, when you sleep, it's like you don't recover. It's like your organism are not really rested, even though your body is sleeping and resting, but your soul is not resting. That is depression. That is depression right there. Then if it's combined with any of the ones I've already mentioned, any of those symptoms I already mentioned, you need to do something about it, guys. Later on, I'll tell you what to do about it. This point. No, this same point. Let me also say, this is also like a coin with two sides, right? Like I spoke about the previous one, either you don't eat, you don't want to eat, or you eat too much. But here, with same thing with sleeping. When someone is depressed, you don't feel like sleeping, or you cannot sleep, you cannot get real rest in sleep. But on the other hand, for some other people, it's the opposite. Not that they get rest and pleasure in sleeping, no, but they just sleep all the time. And the reason why they sleep all the time is because of the same reason why those people cannot sleep, which means they sleep, but they don't really feel rested. So some people cannot sleep, or they cannot get enough sleep. They sleep maybe a few short hours. But on the other hand, some other people could sleep for 8 hours, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. But why are they sleeping that long? Because the sleep is no more giving them the rest and the recovery that sleep is supposed to provide to your body and to you. It's not that the body is not sleeping. The body is sleeping for 6, 8, 10 hours. But the restlessness of the soul, the sickness of the soul, is blocking that recovery to take place. So you could sleep for 10 hours and you don't feel you are rested. Sleep for 12 hours, you don't feel like you are not awake, you are not rested, you are not recovered. So on one hand, some people don't sleep, which also gives them restlessness and lack of rest. They don't really rest, they don't recover. On the other hand, other people, even those who sleep and sleep for long, still don't get the rest and the comfort and the restoration and the recovery that sleep is supposed to give you. So you are sleeping long, but you are not rested. You are not well rested. You don't recover. Well, that is depression, guys. Or you cannot sleep sometimes. And for some other people, it's mixed. Sometimes they sleep long. Sometimes they cannot sleep. Or they just have short break sleep that don't really give them recovery. So I think I've given you 4 or 5 points. Signs, symptoms of depression. Okay, this is the book I put today, right? Maybe the next class, I would like us to put the book How to Be in the Here and Now. Or maybe for the people who even want, you can just show them. Let's show us the book How to Be in the Here and Now, because that could help you. It's connected to the point I want to make next. The next point of depression, the next symptom of depression is that a depressed person finds it difficult to pay attention and concentrate on what is going on what is doing. So what happens is that some people call it brain fog. So you just find it. Before it was okay for you are here and no problem. You know what's going on, you control situations, you are in charge, you are mentally alert. But when depression begins to come in, some symptoms, you don't know what happened, but you just discover that You can't seem to be able to hold down your thoughts, and you don't seem to be able to hold down your thoughts around what is happening. So you find it difficult to pay attention and to concentrate. So when you find it difficult to pay attention and concentrate on the experience that is going on, or on the activities that's going on, you are here, your body is there. You find the book? You don't learn, you can't, can you show it? You are not able to be in the here and now. You see the book here? You are not able to be in the here and now. And this is not just for depressed people. This is for everybody. It's for, and anyone can suffer from this, right? How to be in the here and now. But when you are depressed, you find it difficult to be in the head. You are hearing people talk. You are seeing them. You are agreeing with them. But your brain is not grasping things that are going on. It's like a fog. It's like you are in a fog. Like you are in a cloud, in a fog of, you're seeing everything. Physically, everything is fine. But your mind is not grasping anything. It's like your mind is clouded. You try hard, you know what you want to do, but sometimes you don't even have the strength to try. You don't even have the desire to try. You just want to let your body sit down there, that's all. And your mind, you don't want to even pressure your mind. You don't feel like, like pressurizing yourself. So the reason I chose the other book, Negative, how to turn everything negative to positive, is that all these symptoms I'm going to be giving you are not very positive. They are negative. So this book will help you to deal with that. But also, the trouble concentrating and remembering things, the other book, How to Be in the Here and Now, will help you with that. So that is the next symptom that I wanted to talk about clinical depression. Let's go to the next one. At the height of depression, when it is not dealt with early enough, when that depression begins to progress, it could lead to a moment when you begin to have suicidal thoughts. You see, that's why I connected this series we are doing, depression to suicide and to mass shooting. So you begin to have, and it's not because you are bad, it's not because it's you. You don't even know where it's coming from. But those thoughts, recurrent thoughts of suicide or death, you begin to think it's even better to die than to live. In some cases, it's actually the beginning. For some people, that is the beginning of depression. Their depressions could start from these very thoughts that I want to die. I would rather die. Life is not worth living. They don't see anything. They begin to lose interest in life and begin to see they stop seeing any reason to live. Hopelessness. They start losing hope in everything, and they just begin to think life is not worth it. And when you get to that kind of state, that is suicide. But some other people, because of this, is different from suicide, but I will also later on explain to you the symptoms that bring people to mass shooting and what are the things responsible for mass shooting. Why do depressed people resolve to mass shooting? But let's first of all go and talk about, apart from thoughts of death and suicide, let's look at the next symptom. The next symptom is excessive feeling of guilt and worthlessness. And often it is this, I didn't put them in order. All these points I'm making, they are not in any order. You see, it could be, you can put them in any order you want, and for different people, it could be different ways. So, but the feeling for most people who are depressed, and like I said, people who are depressed is a state of sickness, not mental in sense of not psychiatric, but it's a sickness of the soul. So when your soul is sick like that, one of the things that you will discover is that you will discover that You don't value yourself anymore. You don't see any good in yourself. You rather begin to feel that you rather begin to experience a feeling of worthlessness. So if anybody tells you anything negative, you just think, oh yeah, you are nobody, you respond to all the negative things. Even if nobody tells you anything, you yourself begin to concentrate on all the negative stuff. So that's why this book, Negative, How to Turn Everything Negative to Positive, is going to be very helpful, because excessive feeling of guilt and worthlessness, and that's why the students pass through a lot of this when they are not doing well in classes or in school, and their parents are putting pressure on them. They just slide into accepting that state of mind that, okay, I'm not good for anything. So when you begin to hear children or teenagers or even adults say they are not good for anything, I'm good for nothing, yeah, nothing will ever work out for me, I don't know how to do anything, everything is always bad, I am nobody, then it leads to saying, it's better I'm not even alive, it's better I was not born, it's better, why am I even living? That is depression right there. So a feeling of excessive guilt, paying too much attention at your failures, at your lack, at your worthlessness, at your weaknesses, these things also are symptoms of depression. Next symptom. The next symptom of depression is that so often depressed people have what we call anxiety. Depressed people, not anxiety in the sense that they want to do something like that, no. But this anxiety is anxiety that is not dependent on them. Anxiety in the sense that they cannot find themselves a place. They cannot find a resting place. Something is always pushing them to do something. Either they are always shaking their hands, shaking their legs, always wrangling, pacing, or standing up, walking about. They are always restless. So if you notice somebody that is always restless, he cannot sit in one place for 5 minutes, he cannot listen, and just be at peace with himself, and he has to do something. Either he has to stand up and be pacing, walk up and down, or he has to be shaking his head, his hands, his legs. Now, we all do that when we're nervous. We all do that when we're anxious. But this anxiety is not depending on this person. This person might not even notice that he's doing that. Or he's always holding himself crap. Because if he's not doing that, it's like he's falling apart. If he's not doing that, he cannot function. So he functions better when he's aware of himself. He's not aware of himself. He's not awake. When he's subconsciously trying to awake himself by those things. But it is not dependent on it. It is the sign of the sickness. Is a symptom. So it could be pacing. It could be wrangling of the hand and hand wrangling. It could be fidgeting. That's fidgeting. It could be pacing, walking up and down. It could be shaking. And it's not like as demonstrative like I'm doing it now. Just subtle. It's like it's doing normal things. But if you notice, if you look carefully, you will notice that no, it's not normal things. And this also sometimes could be connected with slow walking, that pacing, slow. Some of them slow down their pace, their movement slows down because they are thinking. Their mind is thinking everywhere, and sometimes they are not even thinking, but they are not just interested in being in the here and now. They are just walking slow, or some of them, their speech slows down. they draw word because they are not concentrated. They cannot concentrate on what they're saying. So it's all drawn out process, slower than usual. So this is a form of anxiety, restlessness that you could notice as a symptom in people that are suffering from depression. But probably one of the most obvious and most common symptom of depression that people have is lack of energy. They just lose. First of all, they lose moral energy, internal energy, no strength, no power, no energy to do anything. Lack of energy, feeling fatigue the whole day, just feeling fatigue. Either they feel like want to sleep, or they want to lie down, or they want to stop doing what they are doing. They have difficulty getting themselves to do something that they know they have to do. Even to go and wash plate is difficult for them. To wake up in the morning if they used to go and pray before, wake up in the morning to pray, they don't have the energy to do it. To go to church, they find it difficult. To read the Bible, to even read anything is difficult for them. To even put on tape to listen, or computer to listen to something is difficult for them. So little things that normal people do easily on regular basis, it's like they just don't have the willpower. They just don't have the power, the strength to do it. So lack of energy, feeling fatigue, and difficulty performing small tasks, even eating or showering or showering, going to take your bath or shaving or getting out of bed becomes a problem. When you see those kind of signs in you or in other people, those are symptoms, big symptoms of depression. This is the most obvious symptoms. These two last ones I said, anxiety and fatigue, they are the most obvious signs of depression. Well, I see that my time is over. My time is up, and I will come back tomorrow. I will continue this topic tomorrow. But tomorrow, I think I'll be talking on how you could. I'll be helping you further on how you could, you could test yourself to even examine yourself and see where you are in this situation. But meanwhile, try to go and get this book, How to Turn Everything Negative to Positive, and How to Be in the Here and Now. And you could look for all of my books on Amazon or on Kindle Unlimited for free. You could get all my books there for free. And you could buy them in Africa from DSA Books Planet, dsabooksplanet.com. Or you could write to my office if you want to buy my books in bulk. Then the way to write is to write to dssbooks@gmail.com. dssbooks@gmail.com. If you want to join the mentorship program, go to adelajablog.com/mentorship. If you would like to follow us to Nigeria for Nigerian transformation, you go to adelajablog.com/Nigeria. So thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.